Christian, and today I'm looking at Matthew chapter 25, starting at verse 14. For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he had made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug it in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with him. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here, I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here, I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. Recently, I was in a deep coffee shop conversation, as you have with friends, and we were talking about life and where we thought God was taking us and what he was calling us to and all that kind of stuff. And she asked me a question. She said, what makes you keep going? What is the motivation that makes you keep going after things that don't necessarily succeed? And we had a conversation, and then after that, it just kind of kept living with me a little bit, where I kept thinking about it over the next couple days, and the scripture came to mind to me. And I was thinking to myself, I would hate to get to the end of my life and look at God and go, you weren't good enough. See, in the scripture, the master looks at his people and goes, I'm going to give you what's mine. And I think a lot of times we look at this and go, well, you know, he was giving them according to their ability, because you have 1 talent and you can be the 1 talent person, and some other people have 2 talents, so they can be a 2 talent person. But at the end of the day, it was the master giving servants what the master had. It wasn't about what the servants were good enough to do or wanted or had. It was the master entrusting his property into their hands. And when God looks at us and goes, I'm calling you to go do something in the earth, something that's going to make my name famous, he's going, I'm entrusting you with my property. Now the problem is not so much that one had 5 and one had 2, because basically they only doubled. Like neither one of them really came out better than the other one. But the third one looks at the master and goes, I knew you weren't going to be good enough, so I ran. I was afraid because I didn't think you were going to have my back in this, and I was ashamed of what might happen, so I actually didn't even try. And I would hate to have to look at God at the end of my life and go, I didn't try because I didn't think you were going to be good enough. I didn't think your power was strong enough to go past my past choices in life. I didn't think that your reach was wide enough to get me past the fact that I didn't have an education or my own life experiences. I didn't think that you were kind enough to forgive me for the choices that I made. He looks at his servants and goes, well done, good job. Enter into the joy of your master. Those are the words I want to hear. I don't want to stand in front of God and go, you weren't enough. Because a lot of times we say in our life that like we're unqualified, or, you know, I did the wrong thing, or I don't have experience. But what that really ends up just saying is, God, you're not enough. I'm bigger than you. And so you can't do what you want to do in this earth because I trump you. Those aren't words I want to say to God one day. If we look a little farther, I'm going to look at this in the Message. You guys know I love the Message. And go a little bit farther into the story. And little blue line. Starting in Matthew chapter 25, it's coming, maybe. Maybe not. Okay, it's not coming. It goes a little bit farther into the story, and in the Message, he says, looks at the master and he goes, I didn't think you were going to be good enough, so I ran and I didn't do what you called me to do. And then the master tells him, how could you live a life like that? Okay, cool. We are open. It's starting at verse 24. He who had also received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man. That's the same version. Just kidding. Ha! Now we're open. Starting at verse 24. The servant given 1,000 said, Master, I know you have high standards and hate careless ways, that you demand the best and make no allowances for error. I was afraid I might disappoint you, so I found a good hiding place and secured your money. Here it is, safe and sound, down to the last cent. The master is furious. That's a terrible way to live. It's criminal to live cautiously like that. If you knew I was after the best, why did you do less than the least? The least you could have done would have been to invest in someone baker's, where at least I would have gotten a little interest. Take the 1,000 and give it to the one who risked the most, and get rid of that play it safe who won't go out on the limb. Throw him out to the outer darkness. Those might be the worst words I think I could hear God say, is go, how could you have lived like that? How did you let your life become this? You were so afraid that I wouldn't be good enough in your life that you didn't even live your life. I pray for all of us that those are words we never hear the Father say. That he would never look at us and go, you can't even be in my presence anymore because you didn't trust me enough to be the God of your life. Love you.